All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the meeting in Mount Holly on March 10th, 2014. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Belton?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. DeFalco?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Can everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Come to verification votes.
This meeting is being held in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, certification and file in the office of the Township Clerk.
Thank you. On the communications, Randy, we have the Environmental Advisory Committee monthly report.
And this is the monthly report that goes through the end of February. Just an update on the creative arts mapping. The first task of the team was to complete a survey. And we had over 20 art-related merchants that surveyed. We gave it out to the Howard of Warner, CCAJ Warner students, and we received back about 50% of the surveys that we had returned, and there's still a few out there that we're waiting on getting back. Just as a summary, there's about at least 4 art galleries in town, a new one opening on at 72 High. There's, obviously crafters who make original crafts, merchants in South handcrafted, Jersey-made items, sport merchants offer classes to the community. And the key to keeping the merchants of business according to the merchant survey are the special events that we have. The merchants indicate the events have the same impact on the business as Black Friday has on chain stores. The main suggestion for improving the town centered around improving events, having more events, and working together. The creative arts team is currently looking for volunteers to help come up with ways to use the survey data and use the arts as an economic driver for Mount Holly. And my husband, Mike Rossman, is putting together the team, and he has 3 vendors who have already volunteered to be part of the arts committee, and looking for some other government officials and other people in the community to participate. Any interested people can call Mike at 609-261-9100 on business hours. One thing that came up at our environmental committee meeting this past last week was, I know that you have dropped the Recycle Bank program, which actually is something I've actually been asking to do for a while because I don't think it was a very effective program. And I don't know exactly how much money is being saved by the township by dropping that program. I think when West Hampton, they dropped it, I think they saved over $10,000. And I'm sure that money is coming from the community, from the Clean Community Grant or tonnage grant, and we're just tossing around some ideas that might be better use of that money, since it would have to go towards a recycling program or a cleanup program of that site. And one idea that actually Pam Tisbell from Clean Communities at Burlington had reached out to me is that there's a program in Isham, it's called Adopt the Storm Grate, where community, people in the community, residents, basically adopt their street to go out and be able to go out and clean out the storm grates, make sure it's clear of debris, so they're trash, or keep it clear of leaves. And I don't know exactly how they run that program, but if there's something that you're interested in doing, we might be able to reach out to the Clean Communities person in Eastern to have them come in and explain how they actually do that. But it would save the township money because the people would kind of adopt like their own length of their street to be able to keep the storm grates clear of debris. And perhaps one of the ways of using money would be to offer anyone who would want to adopt a storm grate to provide them with materials like garbage bags or one of those little picker up, those little whatever those things are called, that you use that you can pick up trash without breaking down. But maybe some safety gear to maybe give them some supplies so they can actually keep the streets clean, because I know there's a lot of litter around. And then, so that was one idea. The other thing is that it's also to use the money to make sure that all the trash cans in town have a a recycle can next to it, because maybe actually people would then throw their materials in the correct place rather than putting trash into the recycling, or vice versa, recycling into the trash if everything is paired up. Or in the last idea we thought of is to maybe, for the township to be able, to purchase some composters and make them available to residents at either free or at some reduced cost, so that encourage backyard food composting, which would then reduce the amount of trash that goes out and then, save the money, some township money because we do less trash being picked up. I know when we started composting, we reduced our trash going out to the street by at least 25% for food composting. The other thing is that we are very busy for the spring. With a lot of events coming up. I remember last year when we had a lot of events, I told myself and our committee that we should spread our events out, not have everything done in the spring. Well, I didn't listen to my own recommendations because we have a lot going on in the spring. And I'm just going to go over a couple of them. This coming March 19th, next week on Wednesday, is going to be the first workshop for the Sustainable Jersey grant for the GOAT project. Is going to be that Save the Mount workshop, where I'm basically going to be presenting an overview of what the whole project is about. The person who's from Delaware Spray, Delaware Valley Spray Company, is going to be doing the herbicide treatment, is going to be there to address any questions that people might have about the herbicide that's being used. And Alicia Matropa is going to be presenting information on some alternatives for ground cover that are native ground cover. It's going to be at the Lyceum, starting at 7 o'clock. It's a 2-hour program, 7 to 9. So I invite anyone to please come out for that program. We did hand out invitations to everyone that lives around the Mount. We went door to door and handed out about between 40 and 50 invitations over the last 2 weekends. On April 5th, we actually have another free tree giveaway to residents. I just found out about this program. The New Jersey Community Forestry, along with the New Jersey Forest Nursery, is providing free trees to residents throughout New Jersey if you signed up for the program. It's going to be a pack of 5 tree seedlings, and according to the information, I don't know what type of trees they are. They didn't say, I guess it was whatever available, but they can range anywhere between 3 feet and 7 feet, which is a pretty substantial tree. They're going to be bare root trees, so they have to get it in the ground fairly quickly, and they'll be they're providing information on actually how to plant the trees and take care of them. I ordered 100 of these tree packets, so the first 100 applicants who want trees are available, and just email me at my township email, rockna at twp.holly.nj.us. And I already have about 10 people who have already signed up, and the word is just starting to get out. The next event is on April 10th. The Association of New Jersey Environmental Commissions actually contacted me to see if we wanted to sponsor a workshop with them, for them. It's going to be on open space, the benefits to the community, and it's going to be at 7 o'clock here at the Township building. There is a cost to this because ANJAC is sponsoring it. If anybody who's a member of ANJAC, it's $10, and if you're not a member, it's $15 because they pay their speakers for the event, and it's also somewhat of a fundraiser for them that they put into their operating budget. And the last thing, I guess, for April, actually, we've on the 25th of April, we finally settled on when we're going to be doing our water festival event at Falwell with the students, where we're going to have some 6 interactive stations. The TCNJ Bonner students will be helping put this together, as well as the local watershed ambassador. So it should be a fun day. We're going to be doing it in the morning for about a 90-minute period, where the 4th graders are going to be circling through different interactive stations where they'll learn about water conservation and non-point source pollution, so not to dump things down the drain, and what a watershed is. So it should be a fun event, and that's all I have for April. I guess the last thing in April is our second workshop is going to be April 30th, which is for the second educational session for the Sustainable Jersey symposium event. And again, it's going to be at the Lyceum, and we're going to have someone from the New Jersey Invasive Species Strike Team speaking about invasives in general, and a woman named Catherine Menzie from Yellow Springs Farm Native Plant Nursery, and she's going to talk about doing a garden in your backyard with using all native plants. So that's all that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other communication? No. Next, we have the approval of minutes, February 24th, 2014, regular meeting. Anyone have any comments, corrections for the minutes? If not, action for the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for February 24th.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes. Okay, next we have two ordinances on first reading. We have ordinance number 2014-06, which is an ordinance of the Township of Mount Holly amending portions of Chapter 149, land use to define specific requirements within the downtown zoning districts. Start with that. Does anyone have any questions or comments on first reading of this ordinance?
I have a couple of questions. In looking at what we're looking to change, and what I'm understanding is everything that's underlined is added.
Correct, that's how it, yeah. Underline is new, crossouts, deletions, etc.
All right, so what happens in a situation, first of all, I'm assuming the B1 district is all of High Street from Garden Street down to Washington Street, and then Mill Street out to Pine Street and over to King Street. Is that the B1 district?
Yeah, with the exception of like a hook that goes between government services, like where we are onto the county road.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens with established, like, this ordinance reads that they're grandfathered
Yeah.
in? So, okay, so everybody so this is just going forward, right, basically what we're trying to do here. So if it's, for instance,
The use changes though, I think that would, for example, if one of the bail bond companies moved out, and the business was established, they would not be able to reestablish a bail bond company.
well, that's what I was asking. So if say, Stancy moves out, but 007 wants to move back in, and it's already an established bail bonds,
If they change of address,
Yeah.
would constitute new rule.
If it was immediate, there might be an issue on that. There isn't a split in some of the cases dealing with that. But if someone vacated it and then say there was just a regular retail business in that location for a year and someone tried to move back in, we can draw grounds to do it.
yeah, I guess what I'm asking is if you were to swap, because I'm accustomed to use changes, but if you're a lawyer's office and it and, you know, Gary retires and then George wants to move there, and it stays a lawyer's office, that it's grandfathered in that you can move in, or if it changes occupancy.
If it's changed occupancy, there'd be an argument that they could keep that use, but.
I mean, that's
if it was
normally the
vacant-
case. I guess that's what
Normally,
I'm-
yes, but there's arguments we could have, and I think we would strongly discourage that for the certain types of businesses. That you
Well, yeah, okay. All right.
And the purpose of the ordinance is to try to make it, have as many retail businesses on the first floor downtown, making it a shopping district.
I was just curious about it, because I can just imagine fights all over the place if we, you know.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else on that?
No, I guess between now and then, there's some uses that I think that aren't specific, because remember, we ran into this in the Mill Ridge Village ordinance where it wasn't defined specifically, but if there's something that pops up, I guess I'll ask what a service is versus, you know, like Fry's. That's a retail establishment, kinda. I mean, they do sell some things, but they sell more of a other than their remnants, they sell more of a service. Or, I mean, to me, that's okay. I mean, I think that's a good idea, but is that allowable in this ordinance? Or are we overlooking a possibility in this ordinance?
I think it's pretty much, I think I would suggest that it's okay, but ultimately the code official, I'm sure would contact me if he had any question on the interpretation on it, if the ordinance is adopted.
Well, we're not talking about now. I mean, this thing is,
Right.
I mean, this thing's gonna be around for a while.
Right.
So, is
Just
there,
like any law, it's subject to interpretation, there's gonna be things that you can't possibly contemplate now for certain businesses, and, you know, we were gonna think of by
Case
case.
by case.
Yeah.
Basically.
well, I mean, I'm looking at France as an example, so, you know, that's why I'm asking. I mean, it's here already, and if that's one that we should put in here, then maybe we should, because I think that's a pretty valid business. And I think that's one that's like retail and service at the same time. And I don't want to overlook it.
I would interpret that as being allowed, so.
Okay.
Jason?
I have no mind.
All right, just no further questions. Does anyone have an action for this ordinance?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2014-06 on first reading.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bell?
Abstain.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes. Next, we have ordinance number 2014-07. This is an ordinance of the Township of Mount Holly implementing Chapter 128, Fire Prevention of the Code by requiring the inspection of fire and smoke dampers located within the township-owned and or leased buildings. I'll open up for questions and comments as well.
George, did we run into something that prompted this, or is this something that was overlooked for years and years and years?
It's, a lot of municipalities are passing similar ordinances. I think there was an issue that occurred, not in New Jersey, but it's to ensure that there are proper periodic inspections. I think it was in Ohio, there might have been a fire, is that what I read? Councilman Jones had alerted me to this problem, and I read up on it, and I do recommend it. It's just really a safety precaution, making sure that all the buildings are properly inspected.
Seems like common sense.
I guess as long, because we own a lot of old buildings, as long as it's even viable, I don't know that these dampers are in place, or I don't know how this building was constructed, that I guess these things are in place. We just had a new HVAC system put in. It would have been nice if this ordinance was in place before that system went in, to see whether or not, you know, if the specs weren't written, are we now opening ourselves up to a can of worms? But I mean, I don't want to thwart safety.
These are recommended by the National Fire Prevention.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we just, how long ago, Chief, we just did this, right? Like less than a year?
April.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
we can't thwart safety, but at the same, I guess we're gonna have to look at the system we just put in and make sure that, if we, you know, that we're abiding by it, I guess. Okay.
if it's a new system that was installed in fire dampers, should have been installed as per code. So, I mean, like, with this being just installed in April, this building wouldn't have to be then re-inspected for 4 more years.
Yeah.
And we could work with our oldest buildings first to inspect them, and so it isn't a cost that, you know, because you have to pay an inspector to come out, which their rate is a lot cheaper than having just a mechanical HVAC guy come out.
Lynn, anything? Wayne?
No,
All right, we have action on this ordinance?
I'll make a motion to approve 2014-07.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bell?
yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes. next we have matter to be presented by the public. Members of the public are invited to submit comments during the public comments portion of this meeting. The council, pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, will not publicly discuss personnel matters and may choose not to respond to comments made by members of the public during this portion of the meeting. However, the council will give all comments appropriate consideration and will refer all individual complaints to the township manager or appropriate township representative for resolution. Each citizen will be allotted up to 5 minutes to speak in order to allow everyone an opportunity to express their opinions or concerns. Okay, that being said, it is now open to the public. Those who want to comment, please raise your hand and you may come up. Carol, you're the first one. Raise your hand back there.
Carolyn Youngbean, 197 Cardinal Lane. I walked in when Randy was talking about the storm drains, so I didn't hear all of it, but what I think she was saying is maybe help the residents keep those drains open when we have a lot of debris all around them.
Yeah, it's an adopt a storm drain program that you should put together so citizens can adopt basically their street in front of them. I don't know how the program works, but.
Oh, no, I think it's a great idea, because I already do it.
Yeah.
So if we did it throughout the town, it would be great, because even when we had the snowstorm and the guys were plowing and it blocked them, I opened them, because when it melts or even rains, it just makes more. So I think it would be a great idea. Okay?
Great, thank you.
Not sure if I'm at the right meeting. And Robert McCann, 43 Washington Street. I was under the understanding there was going to be a continuation of the redevelopment tonight.
No.
No, according to the newspaper it is. But my question is the Historic Commission still in effect?
Yes.
Do you know when the next meeting is?
I do not know when next meeting is.
Do you know if they finally have a meeting?
Yes, it did.
Because I've had, they're trying to find out for 2 weeks now when the next meeting is, and I've had no luck. Can somebody possibly take my name and let me know?
Absolutely. Vicky, can you grab his name?
He's right across the way.
Whatever it is, you reach out to him, let him know when next meeting is.
I'll find out
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Okay,
We'll email.
appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
I'm not sure if you want it.
Yeah, we had a meeting scheduled on the Historic Commission, as I indicated the last meeting. The prior consultant did not reply. There was no consultant. We're scheduled a meeting to discuss that and various options, which hopefully will save the township money. It had been scheduled a week ago today, but because of the snowstorm, the township was closed, so we weren't able to do that meeting. I'm not sure if we have it rescheduled for later this week or not, but my secretary was working on that.
I'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah. But I believe, I'm not sure that the committee, council may, I'm not sure Mayor was that was on, if there was any action to appoint about that.
Joyce Wright, 208 East Mill Street. I want to congratulate you on the St. Patrick's Day Parade. I understand I was unable to attend, but I've heard many good results and, comments about it. We go through town later that night, and people are still walking around town and going to, I guess it was the refreshment tent, and it seemed to really enjoy it. That leads to a question, what is the status of the lot that used to be Goldie's at the corner? I noticed there's still for sale sign on it, and I was wondering if the township is still considering buying that. We use it a lot for valuable things to us, and I know there's a lot of money being spent on redevelopment. Somehow, I don't think we ought to overlook that lot anymore.
I'm not a resident of the township.
You
so
can
just
come up.
a general question.
Absolutely.
But my name and address?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Ira Taylor, 1 Adam Court, East Hampton. 08060. I had also read an article about the redevelopment. I was interested in following that, and they said in the paper that it was needed tonight, so that's why I came. So I don't know where the confusion came from. Anybody know anything when the next redevelopment meeting is going to be?
Well, there was no actual redevelopment meeting, I think, the next.
I don't know if it's the council who's doing it or
We
if the
had
planning
we had
board
a
is-
study that was done, that was reviewed by the planning board, which went back to us for review to go back to the planning board, but there hasn't been a follow-up schedule.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about the properties between Park and Lower Lipton Cottage?
Correct.
Okay. So the planning board there's been a study already
The
done?
study was done and they reviewed it.
Okay, and the planning board's now sending it to the council for your review to approve it?
Well, with comments, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
will there be a public discussion of it?
When it comes back to council,
Yeah.
there will be a scheduled discussion on it, absolutely.
Oh, okay, so that'll be published, there'll be public notice of that meeting?
Well, it'll be on the agenda, I don't think it's going to be published in the newspaper as far as here. It's not a public hearing, it's just going to be, you can comment on it in the public meeting portion that you're doing right now. It does not
And then
require.
we can public comment on,
Yeah.
the public comment hearing that it's scheduled to be at the next meeting.
Okay. Your plan is basically to adopt it, not to have a discussion, I assume. Once you
Correct.
vote from the planning board, you're essentially going to adopt it.
Right,
and
people
take
came out
comments
and they discussed during the
at the planning board.
meeting.
I got you. Is there a copy of the plan available?
Yeah,
That's
if you
the
go to the
redevelopment.
Township website and you
Right.
go under the, I believe, the planning portion of the
Mhm.
website, there will
Mhm.
be a copy of the redevelopment study that's on there.
Okay. All right, very good.
Mhm.
Okay.
Kim?
Hello, Kim Burgess, 29 Hillside Road. Just a couple of quick things for you guys. We just completed a survey. Main Street, the Economic Restructuring Committee completed a survey of downtown businesses in regards to the Fire and Ice Festival. And I thought I would share some of the results in the effort to, just strengthen the awareness of the importance of special events downtown. So we interviewed 32 businesses so far. So here's some of the results. I'm just going to give you maybe 3 or 4 of them that I thought were poignant. Rating the overall event, 1 being poor, 10 being excellent, we averaged 8.2. Rating the event's benefit to the downtown, 1 being not beneficial at all, and 10 extremely beneficial, we averaged 8.25, so again, pretty strong. In regards to the sort of open question of was the event's biggest positive, negative impact in their opinion, the general consensus was positive overwhelmingly. The most common remark was that the event brings people into town, which is great. And then another poignant question, were the customers in your businesses on event day mostly prior customers or mostly new faces? So out of the 32 interviewed, 21 said they were either mostly new or a 50-50 mix of new and existing. And bear in mind that 5 of them are services, so they don't really get walk-ins, lawyers, bail bonds, or printing services, for example. They don't, that's not really, that's not going to benefit them. And 3 of them were outside of the sort of perimeter of the High Street, Mill Street T. So I wanted to share those events, or those results in regards to that specific event. And then second, wanted to ask for a follow-up from the council in regards to 3 points on the special events packet, for which you passed an ordinance at the last meeting. Specifically, funding for police and public works costs for these events, the certificate of insurance requirement for non-food vendors, and the non-food vendor fee. If there's any update on maybe some modifications to the existing packet in regards to sort of making these events a little more doable. We've got obviously a handful of people already in the planning phases of some events for this year, and we really kind of need to know how to plan and budget for our events.
I can give you a quick response on that.
Awesome.
As it goes with the township covering the costs to things like personnel, police, trash pickup, of this nature. Like I said, the last meeting, we are putting together a budget. This would mean a lot for special events in town. Like I said, in the past, we've been spending an average of $38,000 that we take on special events. It makes sense to budget for it, but at the same time, as the ordinance states, there are costs that are associated with those particular services. So what we're looking at doing is once it's a budget, as the special events utilize the funds of those budgets, Once they're gone, and the events that are superseding the budget will be charged a fee if they want to continue after that. That's
Okay.
kind of like what we're looking at doing.
Okay.
For that bit, we still got to talk about it, but that's what we're leaning towards.
Right.
As it goes with the insurance requirement for non-food vendors, the insurance requirement is on the event insurance, the event coordinator's insurance. So
Yeah.
Main Street Mahali has insurance, and if they're an event, then all the non-food vendors would fall under their insurance.
As currently written, the permit application for any individual vendor, food or non-food, it states that it doesn't discern, so we might want to make that change in the actual permit form.
Yeah, there could probably be some language change in there
Yeah.
that specifies that once
It says-
once a valid event insurance is purchased and or shown, the vendors that are non-food vendors will be covered under their insurance based on
Yeah.
that.
Assuming that we meet that
that's in there.
requirement.
I think that's in there, but I'll check.
And then as it goes with fees,
Mhm.
I believe what George brought up at the last meeting makes sense, but we're still taking a look at and seeing how we can put different businesses in different tiers, whether it is
Okay.
if you're a home business, if you're one employee, if you make so much money, whatever it is, whether it's $50, $100, whatever that range is.
Yep.
There has to be a distinction based on a classification or a category. How we come to that determination has to be consistent across the board, so there's no guesses as you move forward.
Yeah,
So.
and there are many different types of businesses, so that's.
But it has to be streamlined.
Yeah.
We can't have 100 categories. It has to be, if you have so many employees or less, or you make so much or less, and you make all in this bucket, like, you work at your house, you make stuff with your hands, versus, the guy that's a t-shirt guy is, $1,000 of t-shirts, all that kind of stuff. They can have no problem paying $100 fee. So,
Great.
but we're still looking into it. It's
Okay.
not off the table. And again,
Specifically, the most important and the potentially impactful is the police and public works costs. So again, we're in the planning phase, so if we can, try to be expeditious in getting that resolved, it would be really helpful on us as we go out and we know how difficult it is to get sponsorships. And so we know, it's the monster we know, right? So we know what we're trying. How would you get that into the budget? I mean, do we have to wait for a certain period of time for, a new budget to be voted on? Or is that something you can do in the interim?
we have to talk about it.
Okay.
We haven't come to a determination how to do that.
Okay. Keep this
We will
posted.
keep you posted.
Thanks.
Mayor, I followed up on the TULIP program that I referred to. I didn't get real far with it because the person who I knew had a lot of familiarity was away on vacation. But I did follow up on that and continued to, as you know, I wrote the report on the fees and how that was dealt with, and just so the public's aware. It was already in the ordinance way before this. Apparently it looks like it was ignored or but it was not utilized, but it was clearly covered that any time these events would have happened in the past before the ordinance, they should have been paying the fee. And I believe Mr. Berry was not here, had done some follow-up on that. And our understanding is that some of the events were trying to utilize it as though they paid one, which was not the way it was written at all, and they were not collecting that money, and they may have been collecting sometimes when the event was going on, they were trying to make it fall under an umbrella. But vendors were still being charged, but not by the township. It wasn't on the township, is what we understand. So we'll make sure that the package clarifies that in the future.
I'll let someone grab you. I know I skipped over a couple times. Come on up.
Good morning, Council. My name is Bruce Up at Page 75 Morning. I just want to say happy birthday to the mayor of Mount Holly.
Thanks, Louis.
And looking at the status of the verification of the chief and trying to unlock my Google account. It's under, Mount Holly Township. I'm gonna unlock it so I could release it to you. Right now, I haven't accessed that over 2 months. I'm making a new YouTube account. So now I unlock it, I'll give it to you. And the second is, I got a question about your ordinance, the fourth reading ordinance 2014-06. Wonder if you could clarify prohibit use. He said bell bond business, tattoo parlors, massage parlor, satisfied with that?
That the ordinance is not being changed with the exception of the addition of particular services downtown on a first floor basis, which would be, what would be new would be the bail bonds or, as it's written, mental health, and I forget the other verbiage of it, but we're looking at having retail downtown as a shopping district and providing those type of services in different zones in town.
My second is, what's the future status of the building, the Rainbow parking, the printing shop, the building? That's in Rainbow's Park. The old building. No,
Not sure what you're asking.
I don't know, what's, you gonna fix it or is that gonna be open?
Which building?
Printing shop and, about the baseball field.
The Monroe Park?
Yeah.
The guy still owns it, it's private.
We don't
Oh,
own that.
private, I just wanna know.
Sorry,
Yeah, he still owns it.
Yes, and, just so you know, once, election, for school vote yes, I mean, I think 5 people will come with me to vote yes. And this Thursday is, it's an NBA meeting, they like to work in the club with me. And for tomorrow, there's everybody entering, there's a West Hampton Township meeting, budget meeting. And, I appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you, Louis.
Gary Duckworth, 4 Mill Street. I'm just trying to get some clarification, and I know you probably won't have an answer for me, but in regards to the budget and the special events, most of these events have been going on for years, many, many years, and we've had police at these events every year, so I would have to assume that police got paid in previous years. Therefore, there would be no budget increase. It would be the same budget that was there for the last 10 years. These events are still going on. So when you talk about this $38,000 that it costs for special events, it's the same figure. So if you just had your budget at the same numbers you had last year, you would still be covering the same event. The other comment I had is, I know you guys were going to add on for a rec director.
It was made up of hiring somebody.
Okay. Well, I'm saying if the township is setting aside money to hire that person, that money can be used to fund the events that are already going on in town that don't cost the town any money right now.
I'm not sure that's legal, but I'm not sure if that's for the summer rec or not. I'm not sure if they're legal, two separate or not.
The position you're looking at is for summer rec, correct?
Every year we have
Every year we
summer
have it.
rec.
Oh, okay. It's not a new
No, I'm not
employee.
sure on the ordinance in front of me how that's listed. but
Okay, well, if that's the same question, then I wouldn't work, but just an idea on how we could help fund. I mean, the township right now gets these events put on basically for free, and we're adding new events with the car show and the 4th of July and stuff, and these events are coming at some cost to the taxpayer. It just seems kind of silly when we already have these events going on for free to add new events to them. Thank you.
Mike?
Thank you. Michael Rothmel, 33 Union Street. I'd also like to comment on the special events ordinance. First, it doesn't make sense to say we have a budget of $38,000 for police because we know we spent that previously, and when it runs out, it runs out. One of the things we heard in our survey is that Main Street and the businesses want to work together with the township. The event sponsors know how much they've either contributed or been asked to contribute in the past to the police department for their budgets. It doesn't have to be a guessing game when we run out at the end of the year, we run out. Because a budget is a budget, so you know how to break it up per event. Some events are bigger, some events are smaller. It would make sense to meet with the people who have sponsored the events, figure out what the costs are, because you don't know what the costs are from the police budget, but you don't know what came back in because that goes into the general fund. So it would make sense to work together and maybe have a meeting with some of the people who plan the events, figure out what the police costs actually are, what the police costs on a normal day are, and then figure out a rational cost so you can budget it out throughout the whole year. Instead of just saying, look, if we run out in August, the September event has to pay 100% of the police fund. That doesn't make sense. And it would really make sense to work together with the people who plan the events, who know what the costs are, who know what they've been billed or assessed, to figure out what the costs are to make a rational budget, which is the purpose of government. The other thing that's important is if there's $38,000 in the budget, maybe that covers the extra police protection. You don't have to charge extra. We don't know. Again, you should work with it. And with regard to vendor fees, I did some research, because I wanted to find out what other states did. And when you look at the itinerant vendor statutes in other states, many of them exempt charitable organizations or 501c3s. And then I said, what's New Jersey do? So I used my Westlaw to look up itinerant vendors in New Jersey. New Jersey statute was evidently written in about 1935. But it says in NJSA 45:24-7, under charitable and religious and historical societies unaffected with regard to itinerant vendors, nothing in this article shall apply to or require the obtaining of a license by any charitable or religious society that shall conduct sales of personal property when the proceeds thereof shall be applied to payment of expenses thereof and to the charitable or religious object for which the society exists. So the state law may preempt the township ordinance with regard to charging vendor fees that vend property, not including it, just personal property. But there may be some preemption issues, and maybe there shouldn't be vendor fees for charitable organizations. And maybe that's already in the state statute, and you should look at that. Because from what we heard last time, the vendor fees that the event sponsors charge actually go to fund the event, in addition to sponsor fees, which benefits the whole town. So if you've got that statute, coupled with how they benefit the event, maybe it makes sense not to charge the vendor fees for personal property when they're sponsored by a 501c3, such as Main Street. Again, something to consider. Thank you.
Holly?
I have a couple of questions. The ordinance 2014-54 for, with the county for plowing. These are my questions. Is this, because this goes back to the 2012, so this is an agreement that we've already been in for the last couple of years, and we're just continuing that?
It was never signed by the prior mayor.
Oh, okay.
It's a 5-year.
It's a 5-year agreement, so basically we're signing for what's already been happening for 3 years, so that it will continue?
Actually, longer than that, we still have 2 years.
Okay,
So
and
we're
that's
just
just
executing it
basically,
now.
it means that that we share with the plowing with the
So-
county.
So,
So, okay. My next question is, the 2014-06 about the rezoning.
Mhm.
There's a bail bonds that's not opened yet, but they're in the process of opening. Are they gonna be grandfathered in? Because it's right smack in the middle of High Street. It's like 4 doors up from Levita's, between Levita's and the, closer to the pharmacist.
I'm not a lawyer.
It's called Can Do
My
Bonds.
guess is probably yes, because this is the first reading, a second would be in the end of March, and then it goes into effect 20 days thereafter, so you're talking April. So I think we've been required to already work on there.
Yeah, they're already in there, but they're not open
Yes.
yet.
I don't think it matters, right?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. that
That's
would be-
really unfortunate. Okay, so, and then the next question following up with that, if Miss Nancy decides to move across the street again,
Yeah,
she can't.
correct.
Okay. I like that ordinance, I just wish that that happened before some of these other ordinances that need all these adjustments because we rushed them through. The other question that I have is, I would like to know what the ordinance number or the resolution number is that was referred to when we had our last meeting where we talked about the special events ordinance. No one seemed to know what that number was. I would like to know what that number is so that I can request to get a copy of that.
You're referring to the ordinance that changed up the fees in 2010 or 11?
The actual fee ordinance, though, the fee schedule we're talking about?
When you were talking about the special events ordinance, you said
Prior
that
ordinance?
these aren't included in this ordinance because they're already part of a
Yeah, the
previous
fee
ordinance.
ordinance.
That's what I'd
Yeah,
like to know.
Vicki, do you have that number, Vicki? It was 2010 or 11?
It was 2011.
I think it
Holly,
was.
if you want to come see me after or have it in my email, I can tell you what it is.
Okay, and I again want to reiterate what some other people have already said. You know, I'm one of the people who's been trying to be a go-between and getting the township to work together with other organizations. And I just hope that the township would be a little bit more open to do that. There's a lot of us who put a lot of time into things that we don't ask for reimbursement for. But now that the township's going into starting up some events, you know, we're already being hit up by all the PTAs, the baseball associations, the musical programs. You know, they all come around, and I had 5 requests this week from organizations such as that. And now, in addition to that, we're getting requests to provide prizes for casino night and other events like that. So it's getting harder for the businesses, and I actually had to say no to a couple of them this week because they're just getting out of hand. So if that's how the township's going to do that, I think that you should allocate money so that you don't have to ask the businesses for a donation to make it happen. Thank you.
Holly, that's ordinance 2011-06.
And that's a resolution or an ordinance? Ordinance?
Ordinance.
Thank you.
Randy?
Randy Rothwell, 33 Union Street. 24 years. That's approximately how long I've been living in Mount Holly. And during that time, I've seen many businesses open and close. It's really hard to have a small business in town that, understandably, not all of them make it. But when 3 businesses in town have recently not simply just closed their doors, but actually decided to close in Mount Holly and leave to go elsewhere, I think that's an issue of concern for the township. Liberty Bell Glassworks in town over 10 years, they moved their studio to Mount Laurel. Ghost Hunters seem to have disappeared in the middle of the night. They've been here about 12 years in Mount Holly, and they suddenly moved to Burlington City. And at the end of the month, he, as you know, is going to be moving to Burlington Township, although they've only been here a relatively short time, have really made a name for themselves and are very important in the South Jersey music scene. And I find this really troubling, especially the news that was broadcast on the website of Ghost Hunters. It reads on their move, it says, in part, the original main store is moving to a better location 7 miles down the road. There are plenty of other places to shop and eat. Our friends in town are working at the ribbon cutting ceremony because they are happy to have us relocate here. Come check out our view out our front door, a much nicer neighborhood. And my question is this really speaks volumes to what some of the businesses maybe are thinking here in Mount Holly. And my question that raises is, the people on council actually know that these businesses were about ready to leave? Did our economic development department know that they were leaving? Was there any outreach to these businesses to see, was there any way that they could stay in Mount Holly? What problems were they having? Did they need help moving to a different location, bigger location, help growing their business? I don't know if any of that was done. I'm not involved in that, but it's something that if you didn't know that they were leaving, you should have known that they were leaving, and there should have been communication between council and the businesses in town and your economic development department, especially. And this is just as we're getting new businesses in town. You know, the brewery, new art gallery, there's a fairly new photographer in town, and a veterinarian. And I don't know if there's been like an official welcoming package that's sent out to these businesses. Is there, any ribbon companies make them feel welcome, be friendly to the business coming in, make them, want that they want to be here. Did I don't know if any of the council members, anybody went down to the opening of the new art gallery that was on Saturday? There were a lot of people there. I stopped in, they had a lot of beautiful things there, and it would have been nice if someone go down and welcome them to the community, if that effort was made or not. But I think it's important, especially if you want to keep the business in town have them established so they can be successful and support them. There's always been, seemed to be an underlying rift between the Economic Development Department here in town and the Economic Reconstruction Committee on Main Street. And frankly, I really don't understand why. You know, if it's, you know, to me, it's pretty like stupid that you don't work together. And I don't know if it's just a lack of cooperation or if there's, you know, personality conflicts. But if it's personality conflicts with people, you know, maybe everyone just needs to grow up and work together. You know, get off your pedestal, get off your high horse, whatever you want to call it. Come down, or put your ego on the shelf, and you start over and work together. And it really should be an established meeting between the ER of Main Street, Economic Development, on a regular basis where, you know, businesses can feel comfortable coming in and discussing their issues, their problems, and see if there's ways to, you know, make amendments, you know, respond to the complaints, see if maybe they just need some more police on the streets to make them feel secure. If places that, you know, they don't feel safe, and there's some other issues going on in town, they might be able to be taken care of. I mean, like, it was in Burlington City, they had like recently several rugways where, like, was it 16 people or whatever were arrested, where they tried to, you know, clean up various areas of Burlington City, and that type of thing should be done here too, if that's what the issues are, and really try to make an effort, you know.
It is done here probably weekly.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
We've done 6 search walks in the last.
Oh, I understand that, but if that's what some of the concerns of some of the businesses are having, if that's an issue, I mean, you know, I'm sure you are aware of some of that, but I don't know what the problems are, but I'm just saying there just seems to be a lack of communication overall. And the missions of both, you know, Main Street Economic Development and Mount Holly, you know, the economic development are similar. You know, it's to strengthen the economic base, finding ways to expand and meet new opportunities. You know, bringing new diverse businesses, maintaining strong relationships with existing businesses, or balancing the business needs with those of the community. So I just know why we really should be more cooperative and more working together, and instead of working against each other. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Randy. Any other comments from the public?
One little question.
Come on, quick.
To make this very, very clear. I'm in the real estate development business. I do this work in my trust. I have a question. I assume the 2014-06 was adopted earlier this evening. Is that the first?
First reading.
The first reading. Oh, the first reading. Just had a question for clarification that the board may want to consider. In paragraph D, on the first page, if you want to look at that, there's some confusing language, and I just wanted to point that out in the last sentence of it. And that's the paragraph that reads, any building containing retail space being permitted not to have more than one residential unit. Okay, the very last wording comment provided that there shall be a lot area of 2,500 square feet per family. That last part of the sentence makes that a condition, if I'm
Yeah,
reading it
and
that way.
that is
I'm not sure
actually
that's the
existing.
intention.
That's actually existing in the ordinance.
Right, but the purpose of this ordinance, though, was to delete and add. So I just assumed that if that's what you're in the process of doing, you might want to clean up that one sentence. Because otherwise, to my, layman's view,
It's the first one we
it
brought
makes
up.
that, you don't want things that are not clear in any, I can tell you, in contracts of law or in any ordinances. So I'm just saying it's not a big deal, because what it does, it invalidates the rest of the paragraph, which I don't think is your intent, if I'm wrong or right. I'll just leave it at that.
No, we just.
No
That
charge,
bridge's
no
been
charge.
open, that bridge
Huh?
has been open before.
Yeah, this is not a new discussion.
What's that?
Not a new discussion at all.
Oh, you've heard about this comment?
Absolutely.
On this paragraph?
Absolutely.
So what does it mean then if you don't have a lot that's, if you don't have a
We're
lot
still
that
back-
is 2,500 square feet? I mean, you're allowed to have 3 residential units in the building, or 2 residential units in the building?
Good question.
I mean, you don't want to have
I
that
think
question.
that brings it
open.
up
It only
again.
exposes
We'll
you.
talk about that again.
Yeah, I mean, it exposes the board to litigation. I think you might want to clean that up. Just a suggestion.
Appreciate it.
Been there, done.
Any other public comments?
I just wanted to follow up with Randy, what Randy said.
Is this on the same topic? Because we really shouldn't be rehashing the same
Okay.
topics. I appreciate that, thank you. Are there any other comments? No? I'm going to close the public portion of the meeting. Next, we have a consent agenda of resolution number 2014-52 through 2014-56, including the approval of the department head reports. Do you have any comments? Dwayne, Lou, Jason, on the resolutions? Hearing none, is there action on the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
One second.
Dwayne Goddard. This is a roll call, please.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes. Next, we have resolution number 2014-57. This is a resolution of the Council of Mount Holly authorizing the purchase of properties in the western Cocos redevelopment area.
Mr. Mayor, before this vote on, just note that I would add, making just an amendment to that before you vote on. The overall resolution should include it's a total not to exceed $1,840,000. And I note that it's not going to add up to that. The $1,840,000 represents a negotiated amount specifically between all the landlords for those 27 properties, including the option purchase agreements which we have. Although, as I said, I drafted the ordinance and Mr. Capelli filled it in as a result of the option purchase agreements. I just wanted to clarify that so that in case one of the numbers isn't exactly right on there with his secretary to prepare it. But the total amount for those 27 properties is $1,840,000.
Okay, so we have action on resolution number 2014-57 with the amendment of not to exceed $1.84 million.
No, $1,840,000.
$1.84 million, $1,840,000.
We couldn't get that 1.8 in there, huh? Could leave it at that, right?
It's not going to add up quite that high because some of the options that were attached to those action agreements.
Is it 40,000 or 400,000?
1,840,000.
40,000.
Yes.
Okay, not 400,000. Okay, that's what I thought you had said.
1.84 million, which is 1,840,000.
1,000,000. Is there action on the resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2014-57 with the amendment given to us by our solicitor.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Belton?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Lastly, we have resolution 2014-58, which is a resolution of the Township of Mount Holly authorizing advertisement for a public hearing and the scheduling of a public hearing pursuant to NJSA 40A-1125 with the inclusion of responsible bidder language in the requests for proposals for contracts. Do we have any questions or comments from council on this resolution?
I guess I've always wanted to ask where these things come from when they pop up. And this is another one of those, I guess I'd have to ask. You know, have we been having issues with the workers in the building that we've been hiring that, you know, is requiring this? I know to do municipal work, that it's already quite a few obstacles that are put in there by the state and municipalities to qualify, pay for, license, and incur expenses to do municipal work. And I guess my question is, do we have an incident or were there incidences in the building that are requiring, you know, this action? I guess that's why I always, you know, what took place that is requiring more stringent, language for folks to do work in the building? Something happened over the last couple of years that are requiring this?
I don't think it was necessarily here in Mount Holly, but I think it's just a general safety concern. Yeah, the state is considering a bill right now, which is very, very similar to this. It's somewhere in the committee.
So the state would already impose this upon a
If that happens,
municipality?
It's pending, I don't know whether it passed, but it's very similar to this. My understanding of, I haven't read the bill, but it's being considered by the state legislature at this time, something extremely similar to this.
Okay, so this wording came out of, like the wording, you know, where that come out of a brainchild of yours, someone in your office, the state?
It's a combination of several public labor agreements and things like that.
The county has one.
County has one, similar, correct.
Okay, well, you know, like I said, I always wonder why these things came, you know, why they come up. So because somebody else is considering it, we need to do it? Is that, I guess, is that?
Not because someone else is considering doing it. I mean, it's going to make sure that all the work done here is done by someone that has been trained in their profession. You're not just going to get some fly-by-the-night contractor to come in, hire a guy off the street that doesn't know what he's going to do.
Do you realize that you can't do that the way municipalities have to operate? That just doesn't happen. I mean, everybody that comes into this building has to be licensed in the state of New Jersey. They have to carry the right amount of insurance. To do work for a municipality is not that easy. It's not that easy already. It's not that easy. And trust me, I know, I've been in the business for over 25 years, and it's one of the reasons I don't do a lot of work for municipalities, is because the stringency is already there. And what I don't want to have happen is it make it difficult for folks that we have long-term relations with, that are qualified individuals that have been doing work in this building, and then all of a sudden we shut them out of the opportunity to continue doing work here, and they're qualified people, just because they don't have a certain certificate. I mean, we probably have craftsmen in this building that have probably been around before these certificates were even brought up. And now we may shut them out of this building because they don't have a certificate. And I'm just curious as to what causes these things. I mean, if it's just because somebody else is doing it at a county level and we need to do it, it doesn't make sense to me. I think before we bite our nose off to spite our face, we need to check with some of the folks that are doing work in this building and the people that have hired them to do work in this building and make sure that they have some of these things already in place. Or we may find ourselves shutting some folks out that do qualified work, that have been doing business for quite a few years, that already can meet the stringent requirements that municipalities put on contractors that do work. And we just don't ask for a couple more certificates that may kick some good people out of this building from doing work. That's all I'm saying. If there's, you know, if there was somebody that came in here and somebody got hurt, or there was a dangerous situation left, that I can understand and we address that. But, you know, to me, this is being a lot more stringent than it needs to be if we have qualified people that don't already meet these qualifications in the building doing good work for us over the years.
But why wait till an incident occurs?
Again, I'm not gonna go back and forth.
You say if there was an incident that occurred, why should we sit back and wait for an incident
This
to
isn't gonna
occur?
protect accidents from happening. This doesn't, protect accidents from happening. And I will tell you right now that, we just had an explosion up in Hamilton Township. You don't think that those people didn't go through 30 hours of OSHA training? Accidents happen. So those folks, I'm sure went through more than 30 hours of OSHA training.
Mr. Mayor, and members of council, I would just point out that this is the language has to get approved by DCA. There's no guarantee that DCA will approve it. It is strict language. They're considering things in different ways, and I know DCA is well aware that the state legislature is considering similar language. And again, after the public hearing, the DCA has to review it.
I would say
If
it's
too strict, they'll
the
probably
council's
pass it.
prerogative to pass a resolution. We will fund that based on the voting in a few minutes. So if there's no further comment on this resolution, is your action on this resolution?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2014-58.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bell?
No.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. DePaolo?
Yes. Lastly, it's not on the agenda. I'd like to add resolution number 2014-59 to the agenda, appointing Alan Hollowell to the Historic Preservation Commission, effective immediately. If there is any concern with that resolution, let's talk about it. If not, can I have a action to add that resolution to the agenda, and then we will do a roll call on that resolution.
Make a motion to approve 2014-59 as made a fall.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Belton?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes. Resolution passes, as well being added onto the agenda. Mr. Hollowell is here, but please send a personal notification. I know he's on board.
Is that the only vacancy we have to fill, or do we have more that we have to fill?
There are some more we have to fill.
That's
Are
your
we
part.
advertising?
I will be advertising, yes. Including a planning board seat that has recently become open.
Can the Historic Preservation Commission board meet with the members that it has right now? Do we have a quorum if they are to meet? Saying, hypothetical meeting happens this week, and a hypothetical meeting date.
I believe there is a quorum.
I think the point of that was to make sure that there was a quorum, and I think that the mayor indicated everyone knows Alan, and that's why they felt comfortable appointing him.
Yeah, well, that's, this,
That gets a quorum.
I'm not getting a lot of information, so this is when I get it. So that's why I'm asking whether or not, we have a quorum, whether we have enough people there tonight, or do we need to appoint some more tonight to make, because right now, from what I'm gathering and I've heard, we haven't met, the Historic Preservation Commission hasn't met since October.
I believe that tonight, when I had a meeting with Mr. Perry, we were advised that they needed one more to get a quorum, and that should take care of it. If that's incorrect, of course, I'll have to do that.
I'm pretty sure that's accurate. So we need one more for a quorum. We do need to put them together and schedule some meetings since you do have a backlog.
Correct.
Alan, you are going to be there, I guess, if the next meeting happens, so we don't, okay, thank you.
Next, we have matter to be reported by the manager. Dave, anything? George, solicitor?
Nothing else.
Council? Lou?
No, sir.
Jason?
Just want to thank everybody that came out and ran in the 5K race, the Family Fun Walk, for the St. Patrick's Day Parade. It was a good event. I'd like to thank AJ Designs for making the t-shirts. I think it was close to $6,000 that we raised that day for the Recreation Trust Fund. So, second, Lewis is going to have to work on the mayor.
Thank you.
Other than that,
Other year.
that's all I have.
Wayne? All right, lastly, thank you for coming out. Again, like I said last time, we do appreciate all your comments that pertain to all the events that you guys do in town. We are going to come over. We'll be addressing a lot of the concerns that you have, and we'll be in communication with all of you, keep you updated, just so you don't feel like we're being left out. We are talking about it. It is something that we're talking about pretty much on a daily basis. We'll reach out to you when we have something that, other than we're still reading about it and going over for you, so you have an update. I know Gary, looking to schedule things, I will reach out to you with those numbers. Like Lewis mentioned, there's a vote tomorrow. Please make sure if you haven't received the flyer on your door or the mailer to your mailbox on Saturday, go to the website. I believe it's savemhschools.com. Review it, make yourself an educated decision, and make sure you go out tomorrow and make your vote count.
3 to 9.
3 to 9 tomorrow, Holbein. Aside from that, thank you for coming out. As always, your friends, neighbors, take everything into consideration, and look forward to the next meeting. Thank you. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.